I mean, probably, right? I don't think, we're not going to see surprises. Agents are locked in. And I want to look at the left and something that Mini was saying, and it's the fact also that it's Paditech here. If someone is going to do a favor to Team Heretics, I'm sure that Paditech is going to be first in line to give back to Team Heretics. But especially when you choose Ascent, you know that you're going to start on the attack. So I say that eyes on him, and obviously no access to side.
Yeah, so BBL start with this composition is to overwhelm the extremities, and then have overwhelming execs in which you cannot hold. And a KO is perfect against that because you throw the knife, and then you know there's 5 people in that main, or like probably 5 people, 3 to 5 people, suppress all that utility, and they cannot exec, and you can rotate in time. So that to me is the key win condition that Team Liquid have in this match today.
And for me, and today this is the only map we're going to see where Levin is going to play Jet. The agent that we know
of, that we can expect, no?
Yeah, we felt overwhelmingly where he shined the most, he had the most impact. So I do wonder how his form is going to be as we move on to the next two, but here he should be just living his best life.
Yeah, like we've been speaking about, you know, setting up players and this and that with 3 initiators. That should not be a problem. Very easy executes for him to just dash on, use the smoke. To me, it's on the right side of the map, is on A, where I think we're going to see the biggest clashes, because it's usually where Nats plays and has insane setups that might be exposed.
Yeah,
is he wearing a gold chain? Sorry, carry on.
Nats' last Ascent, he was not doing so hot. Like, he was struggling a little bit. And this triple initiator comp is going to be a really... Like, if they can isolate Nats' side of the map rather than the KO side of the map, that's going to be the win condition for BBL, in my opinion, because all of that utility is going to be so hard for Nats to play around.
And I want to see them be able to shut down some of the sociable ultimates. They have been fantastic on this map. And speaking of fantastic, here's Mitchman and Tombiz.
The Fantastic 2. Well, we've got 2 great teams down on the stage, and this should be a banger of a matchup. Champ slots on the line, 1 for BBL, 1 for Heretics, who aren't even here. Well, maybe they are here today. We'll find out a little more later. Tom, what an incredible matchup we've got in front of us today, and I think this one, it's got to go to 3.
Yeah, well, I think history says that it should go to 3 at a minimum, but yeah, honestly, this is one of those matchups where we've sort of seen it, we've done it, and we've got the t-shirt at this stage. Liquid have always been on top when it comes to that record in the past. They have faced off in VCT multiple times, and it was always them coming out on top. For BBL, this is them running the gauntlet. This is them facing off against every team. Well, actually, they had been Fnatic before, but every other team that they had been defeated by along the way, and now they're looking to take them down to make it to champions. When we started off this run, we had 3 teams that we guaranteed would be at the top, and there was nobody else, no room for error anywhere else. Well, BBL could send all of them to the lower bracket.
Well, twice now. This year, we've seen BBL's run cut short by Team Liquid. Now, 3rd time's the charm. At least that's what they'll hope for. A BO3 that could send them all the way to champions to fight against the best of the best. And it starts here on Ascent, a map both teams have been good at. Both teams beat Fnatic, but Liquid did it 13-1. We'll see if they've got a chance of the same, as the pistol already sees them drawing first blood.
Solid trip setup has managed to get them the opener. The battle from Kiko's not the prettiest. It's left them a little bit low, and 3 players sat within this smoke. Even a flash being set up. They want to try and fight for that aggressive short control. The pop flash doesn't catch anyone, though. It's passive from the side of Liquid. They're waiting on the other side, but Levin in the meantime's done well. Nats fights back in turn, but look how low some of these Liquid players are. It gives Levin some hope for the ace, but he needs so much being surrounded, and Paditech will be there to give them their first round.
You talk a lot about pistols when it comes to BBL all year long. That's been a talking point, but this one's starting out in Team Liquid's favor. A 1-0 beginning, and like we said, fairly spotless records for both of these squads, but Liquid have at times, up against Fnatic, felt untouchable. We'll see if they can bring that same level to the server here today. It is a very different composition that they're up against, though.
Yeah, I think the focus point as well, even though I expect both teams to be better on the defense, is how they're going to do on the attack. Like, because at times we've seen BBL fall a little bit flat if they can't get that momentum rolling. As it was said by Mini, a lot of the time they're fighting those extremities and looking to be more direct with their hits. If they're figured out by someone like Paditech, or you could say the same for Trex, it becomes a much tougher task for them to get some work done. And especially losing those pistols, the thing that normally gives them the edge, it could be a very different story. We've already seen Liquid in the past run away with this map, even versus BBL.
Yeah, having to fight them on those buy rounds will be tough. And right here, BBL look to rectify that early opening loss, as they've gone in with 4 stingers and a share of shields on all. This is a real battle early on. They're not content with Liquid having that early start. They don't want to stall out as they have before, but the team's being stalled. Levin alone falls towards the switch. A trade at last, but it's a 3v4. The numbers stacking against them. The odds not in their favor. And from a poor start to a terrible one in this half as the force buy has failed.
Yeah, it's understandable. In rounds like this, you kind of can catch teams off guard, especially if you're very direct with it. But I think Liquid did well to just make sure that didn't get out of control. Nobody overfacing, nobody being too aggressive in their stance, and then playing these sort of ranged battles without giving too much away. I think that's also where I want to put a focus on someone like Trex. Nice! I think when he has been good, this team has been incredible. But at times he has been a little bit overzealous, I guess is the way I'll put it. So I definitely, you look at this round, he was very patient, made sure that there wasn't him giving the site away.
Yep.
If he plays like that the whole game, BBL are going to struggle. And
when you see a player fall back in a boathouse like that, play back on site, a lot of the time they're just disconnected from the action. They're the fail-safe, but his shock darts, they didn't actually do a ton, but they were trying, right? BBL avoided those mines that were put down, but this time they don't. An immediate hit on the Magnum, and that's what I love to see. Him falling back from the action, not giving the pick, but still trying to contribute in that way. It gives them that extra level to fight with. 2-0 start. A full eco, essentially, for the side of BBL. Magnum already tagged. This should be a 3-0 beginning to Ascent, and that's a great sign for Team Liquid, keeping this historic wins in their favor.
I think just talking a little bit while we've got this low buy round about the veto, it feels like one that has been played well by Liquid. Like one where you have Ascent that you probably knew was coming, whether it's first or third map. It took out Icebox, which has been a problem for them, and a great map for BBL. And then you have Sunset, which I don't necessarily think many would have expected is their first pick. And then Bind, another map they've been comfortable on. I think you can tell work has been done on how this veto will be played. And it's going to be more so up to BBL to prove to me that this is a solid one for them. In-zone flawless, Paditech flying.
Well, we saw the same in the force buy from BBL. They attempt to break out into that B site, but the burst is caught early. It's this nade that goes through from Paditech now 2 rounds in a row, finding that impact, slowing the push from the opposition, leaving Levin isolated when he does make that dash out through it. And they are easily able to pick up the pieces from there, even finishing it with a classic. It's a 6-1 start from Paditech, but it's not just that. It's his utility, it's the timing, and we're seeing Liquid have great reactions to everything BBL is throwing at them so far. But here's the buy round, and here's where things should change for the attackers.
We've seen an upgrade here or there from Liquid just to make sure that this quote-unquote bonus round does have some bite. Paditech is upgraded. Having that Phantom in hand. BBL, though, building up towards this A execution. 3 players ready and waiting. In fact, even reaggressing slightly. All 4 backward into the site.
Playing triple initiator against the null commands. A real headache as the clock runs down. So BBL getting in there early, looking for the Ray crunch, but a fight back from Paditech. His confidence tangible in his actions. A drop down punish, another swing from Paditech, and when he finally falls, he's left his team in a 4v2. Magnum desperately trying to pull this back. And with low HP on Camo, this could flip back in BBL's favor, but a nice play through the smoke. Puts the 3v1, in fact, the 3v-none on the board. That's a 4-0 start from Team Liquid.
Yeah, we're seeing the danger. It said it, starting on that attack side. If you're a little bit slow, and being the weaker half of both squads, we're seeing the confidence. And we've already spoken about it. Obviously, Liquid, they're qualified to champs. They'll want that trophy. They'll want to make it all the way to the final. There's no doubt about it. But the one man who has another thing to fight for is Paditech. We know that he was given sort of like a second lease of life in the Tier 1 by Team Heretics, playing as a stand-in, made it to a final alongside them. And now has the chance to send them to champions with a victory here. It is a beautiful story if they can make it work. Levin aggressively taking space. For Camo, this becomes a problem. He's already caught.
And now Paditech's caught between a rock and a hard place. Has to give up that position, but Levin's being punished. Trex and Kiko pulling this back into the favor of the defensive side around that should be theirs. And Kiko's making sure it is. Yumpy alone, and that shock dart. We talked about Trex's utility. It's found another early on. No signs of life from the attackers.
Oh yeah, they are getting slaughtered. Like, they've only had one proper buy round, but you can see early there's going to be a tactical pause called, and you can't really blame the coaching staff of BBL at this stage. Like, this was sort of a burden of them back in some of the previous stages as they get off to very slow starts in some of their matches. And right now, well, they're just being bullied. Kiko is yet to die.
Yo, they just walked into it. Amazing.
Come on. In fact, Nats is also yet to die. He might only be 3-0, but he's just not had too many people to kill.
Yeah, it's definitely the moment for BBL to gather themselves a very, very slow start from this squad. And at 5-0 down, knowing the dominance that Liquid have put up on the board before, this is really where we need to see rounds put on real soon. Because you talked about the veto, Tom, the sunset, the bind. You know, BBL can make it there. We could have quite an interesting series on our hands, but this is their pick. This is the one they would have come in prepared for, and so far that preparation, it seems wasted.
Yeah, for sure. And their composition is one that really feels like huge success or huge failure. Like, it's one that has gambles within it. Even on the defensive side, you're going to have a lot of the time an initiator playing the role of a sentinel, which I think Magnum a lot of the time will take up that mantle. I'm not a huge fan of the composition, but they've managed to make it work quite well. And on the attack, that's where you feel like you should have a little bit extra. Like, you're able to have these more difficult scenarios for the defense, but thus far we are yet to see it. Pause taken. Of course, I think even 4 or 5 rounds in the attack is enough, but when you're 5-0 down, that becomes unlikely.
Yeah, that's quite a feat needed. Hunter's Fury through early. They heard some noise, and Trax is trying to sniff them out. His confidence on display, but it's not going to find anything. BBL early on. I'm not sure if you can call it baiting out the Hunter's Fury, but it's certainly not on the table anymore. Liquid haven't needed those ultimates. I mentioned Patatek having that null command very early on. He still hasn't popped it, even when push comes to shove. They are happy to just hold their ground, rifles in hand, and so far it's been working.
Yeah, the ults also there, though, for BBL in this one. Aggressive position from Kiko, but this time there is a trade available. Camo also under some serious pressure, and he'll be dealt with. Trax now on that backside, though. As I said, when he's good, this seems like an impossible defense to deal with, but he has been caught. Patatek still looking to try and take the fight versus Profek. They're even right now, but Profek needs to escape, and he has done so. The spike being down there could be a problem, but Patatek runs out.
30 seconds.
Left Nats alone, and now they know. They know right where he is. A cage to pop, but he's not going to step inside it for now. A 1 versus 2. Spike still needing to be planted, and that could be his chance to take some space. There it is. Off the tap, he's out and about. Already getting very close. This angle's being watched, but it's going to be 1-by-1 duels. Profek is head just above the boxes, but Nats can't connect. The first round for BBL after their pause. A 3K for Profek, and they're on the board.
I think the first deaths for 2 of the players, Kiko and Nats. So, hopefully the pause has called for the winds of change. Otherwise, might be looking at a very quick map number 1. They did well there, though. I think it was important just getting some of the spacing down a little bit better. We saw just moments ago, Kiko able to get away with that triple kill in a similar scenario. This time, Levin just quick enough on those trades. And then Patatek, maybe a little bit overzealous, running through the smoke, but with how successful he's been so far, you can kind of understand why.
Yeah, I don't think it was a bad time to go for that bit of aggression. The player just having run down through the lane. This is a fight for Levin that's a bit risky. Gets in there with the Blade Storm, though, and Camo's down and out. TP from Profek goes unnoticed. Drex, oh, he's going to be kicking himself after that one. And that's BBL with a huge advantage in this early fight. They've got the plant in a 5v3.
I love that. He knows off the Nightfall that not going to be able to hear anything. So that TP is able to make him look foolish when in reality he had no clue that that ult was being used at the same time, focused on his front. So the remaining 3, they've got the credits. Even if they lock in the remaining players of BBL, that could be costly, but with Patatek now catching Levin, this could become a problem.
Still numbers and time on their side, and you can hear the ticks getting faster. They've got to make a move. Goes the Armageddon. Putting them out into the open, looking for the fight on lane. Good adaptation from BBL. They'll fight this together. Nade in. It's going to box them in. They want all those rifles out of the hands of the attackers. It's going to be a costly round, although it's won. Nobody left standing on BBL in the end. Team Liquid making that read in the end. We can't win it. We can make sure they pay a heavy cost.
Yeah, especially in a round where you've used, I believe it was 3 ultimates. It's the Blade Storm in early. Nightfall that catches the player at backside, so he's deafened, that has absolutely no idea that the player's coming in from behind. And then they use the null command at the same time for no utility. So that's 3 ultimates used. It gets them a round win, important, but they lose all their guns. Costly.
Yeah, you look at that one though. Yeah, could have used a call from someone else. By the way, Omen's ulted. Maybe just turned around. It's unfortunate. Oh, early peek. Levin's dashed out. He's taking a lot of space in mid, denies that peek from Camo. He's even forced back with the re-aggression. Oh, there's a fight brewing. Patatek stepped into market. This guy, he's been feeling it. 11-3 right now. You can certainly understand why. And he's got Nats on the crossfire. Even then, he's got Camo and Nats on the crossfire. They're going to retake this space. There's no reason for 3 players unless you want to fight, and a fight that they will win. But the numbers left even. It's going to make it a little easier for BBL to attack.
And they now know that there's a couple of players to be had. It's actually worth fighting, though, for BBL just to try and retrieve that additional rifle. Of course, the weaponry was in danger in this round. Patatek now on the same stairs as Trex has been every single time. The swing out. Magnum's managed to catch him. This leaves Patatek somewhat alone, but with the TP being utilized, and actually they've caught the rotation. BBL don't have to stay. They could just retreat away, and I think Kiko's realized that guy's TPing into the smoke. I think he assumed they'd already left.
Reasonable assumption, but they've left 2 behind.
30 seconds left.
Magnum falls. Sociable's got all the info. Here's the steps. Those players on site know exactly where Patatek is, and I think from this point he may be better off just saving until he gets an angle. Sociable not expecting the double back to be executed. I mean, he's got time if he wants to go for it. He can quickly make his way up short. The timer not ticking too quickly, but so difficult to root these 2 players from position.
Yeah.
Has a knife. Maybe that's going to give him some information on at least 1 player. Can start to put 2 and 2 together. Oh, never mind! He gets the pick immediately. Now this is dangerous. This is desperately dangerous for Yumpy. The knife to go through. It's going to catch him. There's the information for Patatek. The tap now, putting it to half, but the swing comes in on time. Yumpy's not playing any games.
Yeah, he knows at that stage that he has to get it to half. A little bit shaky with it. I think Profik just basically fishing for information, not wanting to get caught from heaven. He goes down, but a lot of it does come down to just how well they did at catching off those rotations. That kill from Sociable onto Camo basically changes the round. You see Kiko immediately trying to get back over to the other side of the map. But I am still looking at Patatek. Sure, they've lost the last 3 rounds in a row, but he is 14-4 right now. He really does want to help out those Heretics guys.
Yeah, no doubt as well for Team Liquid. There's going to be a lot of talk behind the scenes about the importance of this run, a squad that looks like they could challenge the best, and now in a position to potentially lift their first trophy since all the way back when this league first kicked off, when franchise began a few years ago. See BBL though, they have taken down some big names and adding Liquid to the tally. Well, after eliminating Fnatic and Heretics, sending them down below, that's certainly not out of the question.
Yeah, it really has been a run of, like, you're looking at a team that for many years has made it to Champions. You're talking about Vitality, a team that had made it to Masters earlier in the year. And then obviously the biggest names of Fnatic, who were in the last Masters final, Heretics who are in the last Champions final. Like, they are going through not only all the teams that have been up at the very top for a long, long time, but also the ones that, especially in the form of Heretics, they struggled to beat in the past. There's no doubt that this is the best BBL have ever looked. It's not even in question. But will they fall at the final hurdle, or hurdles? They've had a good recovery, though. 3 rounds on the attack. I said 4 or 5, and they'll be happy. And now that starts to look believable.
Too suppressed.
Yeah, the 5-0 start certainly wasn't inspiring confidence. We've had a pause from Team Liquid. It was BBL's pause that got them on that 3-win streak. Now looking to adapt to the learnings. BBL changed it up as well. It's a slow default, spreading the net, looking to catch a bit of aggression from Liquid and force the fight towards short. There's a trap waiting for them there, and it will be destroyed, so Liquid starting to put pieces together, and that's standing by to take that opening blood.
Yeah, Paranoia immediately through as well. Reclaims a lot of the space, gets them all the information. We said that can be one of the problems of this more direct composition from the side of BBL, is once they are revealed, once the idea is known, it can become a problem. And already with the drone actually going through on B main at the same time, there's been a lot of information garnered, but it's kind of sold a somewhat false idea.
Panatek towards B. He's 2 HP, but he's 1 away from the ult.
30 seconds left.
Give him Elisa life. The noise heard. Plenty of players close by, but they've lost camo already. Sociable now making the play. He's been spotted, but not taken down. They've got the idea of where Trex is, but dealing with him's a different story. A triple for the man hiding in logs. He shot too early, and I thought that would have been the end of him.
It's one of the first times we've actually seen him aggressive away from the site. Like, think about every Trex position. It's basically just been the stairs are on lane every single round. Like, that has been the whole time. So you kind of understand why it goes a little bit of a miss. But yeah, once he shoots, you kind of expect that maybe there'll be somewhat of a read. And that's it. For him, it can be feast or famine at times. Right now, he's feasting.
It was like his left mouse button got stuck. That's a full mag dump and 3 players falling alongside it. Shock dart in. A lot of damage done by Trex so far in this half. That drone, no, that's a bridge too far. Yumpy's going to punish it immediately. Now the pistols, well, they've got a chance to pick up a weapon, a chance to take this B site by storm and find a post plant. This is dangerous.
Without having to use most of their utility to get in, that means they can hold it for the post. Nightfall timing is going to be everything. If Magnum gets this right, it could cause serious issues. The knife as well has removed a lot of the utility. And now the Nightfall goes in. It's going to tag a couple, maybe a little bit earlier than I would have liked, especially with that flank still coming, but the flank will be spotted at the same time. They have so much information. BBL have sort of layered things perfectly here.
Yeah, they really have. Magnum especially holding on to life and winning the fight. Well, that's a bridge too far as well. They're crossing them all. I mean, for him, you saw him put the Prowler in. As soon as it catches a player, paranoia is there from Profect. Completely shuts down that extra leg, because they knew he was there after popping the ult. But dealing with him again, too difficult. Nats with a double to close it out, but it is BBL finding another round on the board, inching closer to that goalpost that we set earlier that seemed almost unobtainable. But they have had a remarkable recovery.
Yeah, no, a huge pace safeguard Thrifty from them. I think it's the timing of Yumpy is sublime. And then again, just using that Nightfall at the right moment. I think Magnum's round in general was superb. Like, I think he basically just shut down anything on the flank and denied the players coming in from main at the same time. Very well played by BBL, and Liquid from a commanding position. Wow, they lose this one, and their economy's in trouble as well.
Yeah, perhaps 5 is not the end goal. We can see us neck and neck at the half after what was an abysmally slow start from BBL. They looked down and out. You saw it from the moment they found their first round. The players were given the energy. Felt like a turning point, and it certainly has been. Now for Liquid, this is an incredibly passive setup. You talked about Trex typically playing towards the back of B side, at least down the laneway. Well, this time, he's towards A. They're stacked up heavy, expecting the hit to come in there with the Cypher utility backing up camo on B if needed. And they have made the perfect read.
Both teams losing some utility, but Kiko down. Immediately gonna see the pop of that Hunter's Fury. Nats has been able to hold them out, but Magnum re-aggresses, and Camo just seems to have no idea that there could be another player there. Nats now on the site fighting for his life, but it is Yumpy to remove him as well. And while we spoke of the mastery of Trex, he's known for the clutches, but when you look at the economy of his team, this is not one he can go for. And well, BBL don't want to let him hold on to the gun. Profect will put the final man down from 5-0 to 6-5, and a huge advantage in this last round of the half.
That comes back to the old saying, belief is everything from BBL. They always manage to pull themselves back together.
Well, that pause was everything, it seems.
Yeah. from that point forward. But even Liquid call a pause, they get one round on the board, and it's immediately right back to BBL's winning ways, now putting pressure on the economy of their opposition as well. For a long time, we spoke about BBL as a team whose dream was even just to taste playoffs. Just one game, that's all they wanted. And now look at them, fighting with the best of our region, looking to meet the best in the world in Champions. And although it started slow, they could be neck and neck by the time this half is over. Movement to the A site, and it is wide open.
Can he dodge the gauntlet? No. It's tripped back, and the Nats trips are always just so nasty. The perfect read of what his opponent is doing. Well, seemingly catching out Yumpy as well. That's the second time in a couple of rounds that he's managed to reveal the entirety of the enemy. Do they have what it takes to fight back in with weak weapons, though?
Nice attempt by Profect, but he comes out worse for wear, especially
the Cam's still online.
In the 3 versus 5. Cam still sat there, by the way, yeah. Even after that extra tag we saw, no one's broken it, but the info, well, there's something else that needs to follow it. And they have found every pick along the way. It looks like the neck-and-neck half is no longer part of the dream. They'll have to make up for this in the second half, but still, with an in-zone flawless for Team Liquid, that 5-0 lead, it's turned into a 7-5, a close game.
Yeah, it could have been a much stronger lead, but we're seeing that resilience from BBL, of course. It's only the first half done. We'll see who's going to come out on top in half number 2.
Here.
Welcome back, folks. It was interesting first half. It looked like it'd be one-sided, but
we got a biased crowd.
well, in one part of it at least. Yeah, the resurgence of Team Liquid towards the end, no doubt making the squad of Team Heretics happy as they see their former comrade down on the stage, looking to do the work for them yet again. 7 on the board, moving to the attack side, Tom. Is that enough for Liquid? Because you did set 5 as the goalpost for BBL.
No, I think it puts BBL in a pretty decent spot. Like, they are known for winning their defensive half at a minimum, so I think that they'll be quite happy, especially from the deficit they were in. I put the momentum firmly in their favor, but as we know, a pistol in either direction could completely change the dynamic of this game. And I'll also say I'm never, ever counting out Team Liquid.
Yeah, that is a safe bet.
Especially from the lead.
These squads have depth to play with. BBL was a rare pistol loss in the first half. Another here makes this a very difficult game. As that 2-round lead, as we saw in the first, can quickly spiral and snowball in favor of your opposition. And BBL did also take a risk, remember, with the second round force buy that didn't work out. So that put them behind. And to just be 2 rounds behind after that, that is a godsend. See if they can capitalize on it here. Pistol round number 2, early fight, and it goes Camo's way. Profect down, the A site under threat, but Liquid not looking to rush themselves into anything.
May even hear some of the stamps, but it seems like Magnum's going to use that as bait, but he's lost the fight as well. Nats putting this into a 2-man advantage. Jumpy's got an interesting position, but I don't know if he's going to be able to capitalize off it. And they've already managed to make the way past, and Well, for the two Turkish players trying to catch them on the cross, again, it's just too little too late. Liquid have that full control. Finally, Yumpy's surprise is shown, but his teammate dies at the same time.
Camo's such an annoyance to play against. He tucked in this corner, just waited, counted to 10, and re-swung out, gets his dash back, and just bails. A 4 versus 2 locked in, good patience, good discipline. Until then, caught through the wall. He was spotted, his elbow was, and now Team Liquid. Only one man in the lead, and Levin somehow taking down Kiko. That was through the boxes as well. Another for Levin. He's on fire with Trex, having to have another clutch towards the boathouse. Double swung, and it's dealt with easily by BBL. I don't know how they've gotten away with that.
If this wasn't like on our stage, if this was online, I'd be reporting him for cheating. Like I genuinely don't understand the kills he's just found. Like that's just
He
spam.
didn't see the elbow.
This is just spam. Like okay, sure, Padatek tries to get the trade, but like I'm genuinely perplexed as to what Levin has just done.
Thank you.
Oh man, I mean, and I felt like Camo did everything right there, his positioning and discipline. And I thought he must have stepped out too wide, but in the replay, it doesn't look like it. That was just pure game sense from Levin. Every shot connecting, and
It makes no sense. Like, genuinely. Like, I think if there's certain rounds where you go back as, like, a coach, an analyst, and whatever, and you go, like, yeah, we threw this round because of X. And I think it's just BS. That's the answer. We lost this round. Like, they didn't throw. It was just...
And listen, in many pistol rounds, that's going to be how you look at it, but that one has a different hint, a different flavor to it altogether. Yumpy.
Don't stand near walls, I guess.
Yes. Don't stand in cover. Face them in the open. Yumpy was under threat for a moment, but he'll be left alone. The crunch towards this B site puts Sociable in their crosshairs, and he'll only find one. Now a lot of pressure on Magnum. He stood in this corner, and he won't be standing there for much longer. The Logs position held for just one, and these trades perfect for Team Liquid, even without the economy taken into consideration. Light play as well by Kiko. He's taking a risk, but he's being checked.
Yeah, his old teammate had that in the back of his mind. Yumpy looking for his first victory versus this Liquid side within the VCT. Camo, though, wants to try and deny that. He needs to ace this to win. Already under serious pressure, the utility leaving him blind, at least for now, but Profek is low, it won't matter. Immediately hits the shot. And for the first time in a while, BBL will be level.
Level, but they definitely pay a hefty cost for it. Two players left alive in the end of the round. At least saving two of the bigger weapons. Well, as you can see, a Bulldog along with some Stingers left on the floor, unclaimed. And it was very, very well played by Liquid to be able to consistently trade out those opening fights. Camo has had a very slow start to this map. I think he might have been like 4 kills leaving the first half, somewhere around there. He's now sitting 9 and 10, very much recovered. And I think the attack side, that's something to keep an eye on when rifles come out for Team Liquid, as he's been able to trade efficiently with a Sheriff in his hand.
But yeah, I also want to look at the other side. Sociable's been having a rotter. Like, normally you talk about this guy as having the ability to outfrag anybody while playing that initiator. It's not been going well. Padatek, oh, he's just able to get out on the edge. I like the idea as well from Magnum spamming, and well, there you go. Sociable gets the job done, knowing the one gap in that little set play. I think they were hoping to maybe catch a little bit more, because the buy in this round really does suck. You've got yourself the Outlaw purchased up by Levin. You've got the rifle from the last round, and then it's just pistols, but that's still got them a man advantage.
Unless I misread, I'm pretty sure he was full shield too, so that was a double tap from the Outlaw. Takes a bit of damage for it, ends up going down, but Magnum now gets to fly under the radar. As a result, a fight in mid. They're looking the other way. Magnum gets a freebie. Now there's upgrades available for BBL and a man advantage going into the retake. They managed to make it level. Their economy left in the dirt.
Ooh, brother. That's a mistake. That's a huge mistake, and because of that, it's all going to fall apart. We're in a great position to one of struggle. A chance still for Magnum, though. Turns it into the 1 versus 1. You bet your house on Trex with full HP. And his opponent only on 8. And he's even going to fall back to a passive position. He's waiting patiently for Magnum to round the corner. A safe pair of hands. even still a decent round for BBL, but it could have been so much more.
Yeah, up until we're in that 3v2, every pick feels like it has so much value, but when they get there, when it's a missed TP from Profek, it really sucks to lose a round like that. It was the double tap indeed. Like this here, the fact that you have the fight on short after a player dies mid, Magnum gets a freebie, and then it's just goosed from that point forward. Cracks in the clutch. We always believe in him. Camo certainly looking back. He's been putting up numbers now in this half, 8-7 for Team Liquid. They lost the lead for a moment, but BBL still unable to grab a hold of it.
Camo sending it. You kind of heard it at the end of the replay, said, I've got my blades. I think wants to try and make a move off the back of them. Knife has at least given them some information of the players in B main, but for now at least, it's just been the orb taken and a fall off. It's a very aggressive position, in fact, already taken over on the A site. That's why they can afford to sort of gamble that other side of the map. They've left Levin in this position. But after pausing, they're going straight back in. Nice work from Yumpy, and it's the 1-2 punch. Perfect swings off that initial fight. And even though there were multiple players there, Liquid have come out 2 men down.
The resurgence of BBL seemingly online early in this half. Magnum and Yumpy locking it in with Trex. I said he's reliable in a clutch, maybe not the 1v5. It's an in-zone flawless for BBL, neck and neck again, and now is their chance to take that lead.
Yeah, that's a wonderful round from Yumpy. I think the call initially was for him to take the fight and then the swing from Profek. So he goes out, gets that first, Profek then swings next. So beautiful replay, thank you very much. He also then puts the fragment to catch the player who's on logs, forces them out, and while he's doing that, he turns around and kills the other guy. Like, that is just a man who is in full flow state, knew everything that was going to happen in that round, and then executed it to perfection.
Well, here we are. The passing of the torch from Team Liquid leading with the entirety of this game from round 1, but now they're left with weak weapons, classics, 2 stingers. No real big ultimates to get them into this. I mean, putting a Hunter's Fury doesn't seem likely, especially with Camo. Basically a dead man walking, and another falls alongside, and this is a massacre from BBL as they take every pick. And finally, the lead will be theirs.
Another in-zone flawless as well. They're not just winning these rounds, but they're winning them in a clean fashion. It will set their economy up fantastically for the next couple of rounds. And you're kind of starting to see what I meant when I said that both of these teams have shown their true strength on the defensive side. So I'm more focused on the attack. That might sound weird, but I know their defenses are good. It's whether you can break through them that is the true test of how this is working out for the side. And for Liquid right now, they are beginning to really struggle. That's why we've had ourselves the tactical pause.
This is Liquid's second one. No chance to touch base unless Powell gives it to them. And, well, he's been a man that definitely thinks a lot about when those pauses come through. I think some of the best timing that we've seen. They're going to take a moment as the lead slips out of their hand and things start to spiral in favor of their opposition. BBL finally finding their form. Even Sociables put up a couple of kills, and it's a terrifying prospect for what now could be a quick conclusion to this map. BBL's pick, and one that looked, certainly you look at those first 5 rounds, and BBL were nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Well, I think as well, just even the rounds they're winning on the attack, like, the kill disparity was massive because when Liquid won, it was dominant, and when BBL were winning, it was very close, like clutch rounds. Now that's changed. BBL are winning them dominantly, and that's where you start to worry if you are over in the coaching staff of Team Liquid. You need to try and break back into this one. Now, they've definitely got the tools to do it. This is the classic composition that we see over on Ascent, but facing off against that triple initiator, it means that catching this BBL side off guard, especially with very aggressive, fast-paced takes, is going to be difficult.
Well, maybe that's the reason behind the brakes being pumped. 2 players spotted outside of B. BBL have info. Liquid slowly taking control over mid, clearing out these corners on catwalk, securing B main as prowlers come through, as space is at least feigned by BBL. You look at when push comes to shove, how this execute's going to go through, and I think Patatek having his ultimate online, that is a big deal to get them into a site. You're not canceling out the Sentinel utility as you so often are. this composition. As you've highlighted, Tom, instead of Sentinel utility towards this B site, they have just got a man named Levin holding in this close corner, but there's the old no dash out anymore, and he has to bail quickly.
Oh, maybe not so quickly. He only had a few bullets left, but he still managed to take down Paditek. If they can clear, they can bring him back, and he already is back from the fray. Levin still clinging to life. Yumpy is there alongside him, trying to deny, and Sociable as well, but it still comes down to Levin. Both players tagged. He almost gets caught out by Trex, and in fact he does. Looks like he had him dead to rights with only 5 HP standing. But even in a messy round, Liquid are back level again.
And they can have the lead, but only for one. What a game this is already playing out to be. We talked about this series as a 3-mapper, and maybe that's what we'll end up with. Yeah, Levin sticking around there. Like you said, low on ammo, had no escape anymore, but he still took that fight. Put one on the ground, but they bring him right back, and then it's a big brawl to bring him back to level footing. Now for BBL, what do you change coming into this round? And oh, there's a big old gun. Oh, just missed it. Big old gun in play for Levin and for Profek. Thanks, Tom. Nice spam.
A lot of early damage. Paditek has been one of the major dangers for BBL in this matchup so far. We've said he's fighting for the brotherhood that sits watching in the crowd. A team he's been to internationals with and looks to send them to the biggest international of the year. Liquid may already be qualified, but for everybody else playing, this is everything. Levin with the operator, he's got to be careful though. It's always a risk to face into Kiko, and Kiko has taken him out. A slower approach from Liquid. Yumpy under pressure, he loses that fight as well. These have been opportunities, and Liquid have taken both.
Yeah, another great reveal from Magnum, but the fight doesn't go their way. Shut down every step of the way with Profek. Stood on backside, revealed the smoke, at least to reposition the spam. Good, but the nade from Paditek takes him out in the end. And Magnum, good utility we talk about. The spam towards market, or towards Link, this was doing a lot of damage. The reveal on short almost got them a kill, but Paditek and Camo still drawing breath, and it's him who has to finish them off. But first, getting past Nats, and that hurdle will not be overtaken very easily. 10-9, the lead back in Liquid's favor. The economy's still there for the defensive side.
Yeah, we saw it in a post a couple of rounds ago that in terms of pace, Liquid were in the top 3 globally. I like the fact that we're seeing them slow down. Like, they are being that little bit more patient, waiting for some of the fights to come to them. Levin getting caught out. You then see the swing in that gets rid of Yumpy as well. Well, you mentioned the possibility of another pause. I think the next round might be it. The problem is if BBL lose this one, their economy won't support a buy.
Levin, another risk taken. This time a better solution, but he only gets one. The trade out for Liquid as they pick up the pace towards the site, running into Magnum. He'll land himself one. The C's to stop an immediate push so he can focus on Nats, but he won't take him down. And Profek again, dropping onto the site. The last defender as the rotates are coming through, and actually a little bit slow on making this push happen. That catches BBL off guard as they already commit an ultimate, but Liquid, they've pumped the brakes. Now the TP to the B site, the spike rotating, and Nats causing problems in the back line. It's a beautiful round from Liquid. I don't know if they read that overreaction from their opposition, but it worked perfectly, playing into their hands and out of BBL's. This lead, it should be extended.
Yeah.
To an 11-9 scoreline. Only Profek stands in their way, and he's got time, but cutting through these 3 players will be difficult.
This screams a Nats round. Control within the chaos. And the man who's always controlled is sat waiting. Profek will win that fight, but I don't think he has a chance to go for this anymore. 8 HP, has to just try and escape. And that was just some fantastic mid-rounding. Realizing the gap that had been found, slowing the pace in the middle of all the battles. And then Kiko as well, just taking space and creating it at the same time for Nats. That's exactly what Nats needs, the tiniest amount of space, and the round's already over.
It really was just masterful. When you see them slow it down, so often teams would push through, and BBL are aware of that. Profek alone on site, calling for the backup. In goes Sociable's ult, an attempt to force them into the open. I think there was a flash from Yumpy as well. That was a death trap being sprung, but there was no prey inside it. The AWP left on the ground, as Jack is showing us. This will be 2 rounds now needed for BBL to equalize. 2 rounds needed for Liquid to go 1-0 up on BBL's map pick. And historically, this isn't a matchup they lose. If they start by stealing their opponent's map, I think we might be getting history repeating itself.
I guess the one good thing is that every series has always managed to make its way to 3 maps, so in one way or another. I love how they win the round, and that's as annoyed he didn't win that 1v1.
It's crazy. Lurk picks 2 of them, and then he loses the 3rd one. Oh man, I suck. Yeah.
Well, there is now another opportunity for the Liquid staff to talk, but it is called by Pal over on the BBL side, and you can understand why. The match looked like it was all set to go in their favor. A couple of rounds even won in flawless fashion, and then just like that, Liquid break back, putting themselves a couple of rounds in the head. Their map choice up next as well. This is definitely a high pressure situation that BBL will feel they need to come out on top.
Yeah, and this is very much their last opportunity. If they decide to full invest into this round, they have a Blade Storm. It's going to be a messy buy alongside it. The chance to maybe fight for 3 in a row, it's not out of the question. Although it's not something that they've managed so far this half. There's no reason to believe that they can't make that bounce back. And it looks like Blade Storm will be saved. The rifle in Profek's hands carried through from the last will be the only big gun they've got to play with. So that pause, probably mostly talking about the next round and maybe how they can draw some value from the information given here, but it is a direct play from Liquid. Yeah. 4 players in main, Paranoia set up, and they will be taking this by, well, in a moment they'll be taking it by force. That knife has slowed them down.
Oh, Abs already caught one on the other side.
That's the rifle.
Yeah, it feels like the almost bait and switch. Like you get caught by the knife, you wait patiently and watch as your opponents push on the other side. The Sociable, yeah, this is an opportunity that he realizes, okay, I need to get that gun back. I need something to play with going into this next round, but the drone being put through over on that B site, they're still yet to make that move. Liquid have really adapted over these last few rounds and become a much more patient, slower paced team, and BBL have been playing into their hands.
We would have seen the drone either way towards A, but I'm not sure we would have seen the player push all the way up and clear it so late if the rifle wasn't the one that went down. This might actually play into BBL's hands as Team Liquid look to late push back into this site. They'll be caught. The knife destroyed. Well, that could be a lurker, but the step third, that confirms they've made the right read. The stack up here, everybody drawing breath from BBL, stands waiting for Team Liquid on the B site. The first pick goes to the rifle, but the pistols still standing their ground, but now look. With 20 seconds left on the clock, the spike goes back. The picks go back in their favor. 15. The spike's coming to B. Now, Levin has a chance to end this with the Blade Storm! Levin, a 3-piece in a round that should never have been. BBL, they found the win. It's 11-10, locked in.
God, nothing that can be done from Nance at this stage. In fact, he's going to fall to Levin as well. The superstar duelist over on the BBL side, pumped up as always, but I have to admit this one feels more like a Liquid mistake. I give a lot of credit over to their mid-round calling in the prior round with how they were able to make space. This one was hesitant. It was messy. They couldn't decide on whether they wanted to go into the site or whether they go back and rotate, and because of that, they end up making the worst of both.
Come on, Burki, nice solo!
Now that's one where Liquid might be calling a pause if they still had one.
Yeah.
There's nothing left, no stoppage to the play anymore. Round after round to unfold. Deep aggression from Levin. He's got 2! The confidence back in full force, but the trades out in the end leave us on equal footing. A 2 versus 2, and the information from Nats, the hat off his head. Where do they go with this though? Seeing a player on either side, it's dealer's choice.
Hack them. After being revealed, is just trying to switch up his position, not give the game away. The Liquid will be walking into an empty site. There's nobody currently sat within A. You can understand why. Wanting to maybe group up over on the BBL side, not want to risk it on a solo hold versus the 2. That does mean that there is a guarantee of a post plant at least for Liquid.
I don't think Magnum was close enough to hear it, but they did just fake the steps up there, just one or two. Try to sell that they were going to go market late. Of course, Profek knows that's not the case. He's got that angle held deep into the round. The plant comes through, even just the reveal, that's giving the game away. Profek and Magnum, they've seen Levin. An incredible play in the previous to put them on double digits. A strong opening to this one that fell apart. Now they've got to be the ones to clutch this out, to bring BBL to 11.
Nasty. The trip will be spotted. They managed to dodge at least a little bit of it, but now Magnum is all that remains. Nats is set up again, causing them issues, and with the cam still being baited, there's no secrecy to be had. Magnum from the top rope finds the first, has a good gamble on the second, but again it's Trex. Those late round moments is where he thrives. A triple for him and a 12 for Liquid.
Well, the good news is BBL don't need 3 in a row now. It is just the 2, and they've managed that so far. But this opening, that looked like a major detriment to Liquid's chances in this map. Their early lead in the series, but they recover nicely. The right decisions made as it came to the late round, the push to the A site, the setup perfect, and even the cam was inside the smoke, so you're left racking your brain. So where can he see me from? He actually couldn't. He was just using the sound cue. 2 chances now for Liquid to steal BBL's map pick, to set themselves up for a potential 2-0.
Oh, the buy. Not in the best of shape for BBL. Hasn't mattered much though. It felt like they've got away with quite a lot in these lower buy rounds. Knife over the top to try and catch out any aggression. Spot if Levin is in this aggro position once again. Isn't the case. Another null command picked up by Paditech. It's always been deadly when entering into this B site. That's where they've been using it for the most part. That is where the team is currently looking to rotate.
The full flock is gathering on B. Deep break by Yumpy, the knife. Well, it's not going to be used too early. Yeah, he's waiting just long enough. He's heard some steps because he's so close. The knife will go through soon, and that's going to be all the information there. That'll be 5 players spotted. But, I mean, they're giving the game away anyways. Now it's just Yumpy. Stood alone against a horde of attackers coming his way. Paditech the first to draw blood. Yumpy needs to hold strong, at least find value from this position, but he's shut down. And Levin and Profek again. A 2-player clutch needed by BBL. Nice opening. If there's anyone you want in this situation, it is Levin. He's delivered. In so many of these rounds, the wallbangs attempted and landed for damage.
He's running out of bullets.
Too many players to take down.
They're sitting passive. He doesn't have enough to pull off some miracle spams, but he's still going for it. Bullets are going to be an issue at this stage. Unless there's another gun to be found, hoping that somebody gives a fight, and Profek will find one, but he takes damage. And now on the cross, there's no hope. It is Nats on the hold. It was a back and forth throughout this initial map, but on their opponent's map choice, Liquid come out on top.
A strong opening to the series. They've not lost to BBL. When we look at their history within franchise, well, doesn't look like it's going to change here today. A big comeback needed from BBL in the reverse sweep, and it could start after the break on Sunset.